Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Sin Black Blake and welcome back to my channel. And for today, I want to talk about the top 5 TV series that I used to watch during the 90s. And I absolutely love these. Number one has got to be The X-Files. Man, I remember back then that I think I was the only one in my group of friends that was actually watching the TV series. And I couldn't really share to anyone, my experience, what they thought about it, what they think, who the smoking man is, really, stuff like that. So I just had to absorb it and bounce it off a wall or off myself. And I do remember that because of this, this is like the stepping stone in which I really love some channels today on YouTube. The paranormal, the UFOs, aliens, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness monster, the what was it? Was it the Michigan Lake monster? I kind of forgot, but yeah, on the top of my head, I remember at least 3 episodes. The first episode that I remember was they were chasing a monster. Agent Mulder and Agent Scully was chasing a monster underneath the sewers, and oh my god, it gave me nightmare. The monster looked like this. Oh shucks, I saw that for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, that monster gave me, it gave me nightmares. And I think the monster got away. That's I think what happened. They weren't able to shoot it down or capture it. The second episode that I remember, and I remember this quite distinctly because it was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. There was this guy, the guy that can grow limbs. Like if you cut his arm, it's gonna grow back. If you cut his I think even if you cut its head, because I remember there was a scene where Agent Scully was like measuring it, like doing an autopsy on it, and then the head moved, and then she was like, "Ah!" But she knew that it was like common, like a muscle reflex, but then the corpse was gone. So they were chasing it, and I remember Agent Mulder and Scully going into a mother's house. I think that's his mother, the mother of the guy that grew limbs. And he was like, no, and the mother was like, no, he's not here, but we need to check. And then they get in, and they check the bathroom and everything. In the bathtub, Agent Mulder or Agent Scully, I can't really remember, saw the bathtub was filled to the brim with iodine. It was filled to the brim with iodine, and then they were like, yeah, it's not here. Let's get out of here, something like that. And then the camera, it pans to the bathtub, and then the guy he goes up like that. It was so weird, man. It was so weird. And then I remember another episode. There were these two doctors. They were running in the hallway, and then they went to see a room, and then they opened the room. And the patient wasn't there anymore. And then they both look up. They both look up like that. And one doctor goes like, are you telling me that he went all the way up through that chute, and that's how he got away? And the chute was really small, and I think that guy, his powers were he can fit through anything, like any small hole he can fit through. It was a really, really bizarre episode. Now for my number 2 best TV series or TV shows was Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories. I freaking loved it from the bottom of my heart, with the intro, with the night, and then with the outro that it was, oh my god, it felt like so 90s with the sun coming down, all the houses, and oh god, I really love it. And I remember 3 episodes there. The first episode that I remember was, there was this old guy. He had a beard, and he was bantering. He was arguing with a gnome or a dwarf. It's like, I'm already old. I thought you lied to me. You were supposed to make me rich. And then the gnome was like, that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to take time. But I'm already old. And they were fighting. And then he throws something at it, and then the gnome disappears. Fast forward to modern 1990s. He was driving a very unique old car. It was very unique. It looked old. I haven't seen a car like that. It looked old, but it looked futuristic at the same time. So he's already old. He got his stuff on his car, and then he goes and parks at the gasoline station. He has no money. He's just got quarters, and then a rich woman parks in, and then she goes like, "Excuse me, is that for sale?" And she's pointing at a mug, a Santa Claus mug, and then he was like, "Oh, he doesn't have any money, so he wants to sell it." "Yeah, sure, it's for sale. Yeah, it's yours." "All right, I want to buy it for 10." She goes like, and he's like, $10. $10 is fine. "No, $10,000." And he's like, "Okay." And then another scene is like, he's in this shop, and then there's two guys, looking at this old comic books, and then one guy is like holding a toy, and he flicks it, and it works. The toy works. It's like a not ancient, but it's like a very old toy that still works. And then the guy's like, "All right, these comic books plus these toys, $200,000." And it's like, "Oh my god, that's a lot of money." And then it cuts to a scene wherein he's already wearing a suit, and then all of his stuff is getting auctioned. $50,000 to that gentleman. All right, we're going 10, 20, 30,000 to that gentleman, and all of those are his stuff. So it's like he did get rich, and his friend Gnome, made him rich through all of that. And I remember the last scene that they kind of saw each other, and the gnome was like also wearing a suit, and it's like he does this, and the gnome does that, and the episode ends. Another episode that I absolutely remember was there was a father and daughter. Again, Steven Spielberg, amazing stories. The father was digging through a well. I think they wanted to get some water, but then something tugs on the rope. So the father gets the rope up. He puts in some flashlights so that he could see, so that I think he presses a button, and there's a device that goes down, and then it gets tugged again, and then when he raises it up, the flashlight is gone, but then there's a small sack, and then he opens that sack, and then that sack has like gemstones, and then gold nuggets, gold bars, and then he goes like, "Oh my god, we're going to be rich." And then he goes to town, and then he tells his daughter that, "Don't touch that well." And they have a dynamic that, the father really doesn't care about his daughter. And then his daughter was like, talking to the well and saying stuff to it. And then, "You know what? I have an idea." So she cooks a chicken, gets the chicken on the device, and then she lowers the device, and then something tugs it, and then she raises up the device, and then there's more gold, and then there's a note, "Wow, this tastes great. Are there more?" And then she starts putting bread, I think, or vegetables, and then she keeps on getting this gold, whatever the thing down there is. Now, father comes in. This father buys like a stack of flashlights, a huge pile of flashlights. He stacks them in that hole, pushes the button, and then the device goes down, and then it gets wrecked. After the tug, the father gets or pushes the button, and the device goes up, and all of the flashlights are just shredded. They are shredded, and this enrages the father, right? So he goes back in the house, and I think he wears a suit of some sort, something like a diving gear with a shotgun, and then he instructs his daughter to push the button. "I'm going down. I'm gonna kill this." So he goes down, and then there's a commotion, and then shots were fired, and then the rope gets tugged, and the daughter presses the button, and then the device goes up, but this time it's heavy. The machine is smoking. It's very heavy. And then his father was supposed to be his father, but he's not there anymore. But that suit, it was filled to the brim with gemstones and gold. And if it falls over, it falls over. And then the girl was like, she was shocked. "Where's my father?" Right? and then there's a note, and then she reads the note, and in that note, the creatures down there, was saying, "Wow, this was delicious. Do you have anything else there?" So, oh my god, they ate her father. Oh, and that was really really disturbing. And another episode that I remember as a kid watching this, there was this thief. This thief had this deck of cards that every time he played with the deck of cards, he will not lose. It's impossible for him to lose. The cards was like, magical, something like that. Plus, he had a sack. So there was this rumor in town that there was a castle, and that castle is filled to the brim with gold, stuff like that. But there's a catch. There are demons inside when it's night, when nighttime comes. So he goes there, he waits a bit, and then nighttime comes. He ignites or opens a candlelight with a match, and then there were demons surrounding him, and then they're like, "We're gonna eat you, we're gonna tear you apart," something like that. And then he goes like, "Well, before you do that, why don't we play some cards?" Brings out the cards, and then he plays with the demons, and the demons are frustrated, and one of them goes like, I'm already cheating, and I still can't win." And then, "Yeah, but we're still gonna kill you, even though if you win." And then he opens this sack, and then he goes like, "Do you guys know what this is?" "A sack." Everybody's like, "A sack? That's a sack." "Well, if then this is a sack, then get in it." Then all of them went inside the sack, and then he closes the sack, and then he he slams it all over the place, and the demons inside were like, "Ow, yeah, oh my god, it hurts." So he slams it all over the place. So, "Let us go, please. We won't kill you anymore. Blah blah blah. We're gonna get out of this castle." And then he opens the bag, and then every single demon comes out. But then he grabs a foot. He grabs a demon by the foot, and he breaks it. He breaks the foot. "I'm going to need you one day," and I'm not sure why. I kind of forgot about it. But then he also has this cup. Okay, this cup, when you fill it with water, and then you put it on somebody who's sick, and when you put it on the foot, and if the death was on the foot, he'd bless the sick person, and the sick person will get healed. But if you looked at the cup, and then the death was on top of the person, that's just, he can't do anything about it. He's gonna die. So, because of this riches that he earns, he kind of becomes a king or something like that. And what happens was he was sick. So he grabs that jar or glass with the water in it, and then he doesn't see death on his foot. So he has one of his followers stand up a mirror, something so that he can see his head, and he sees that death is on his head, and then he asks Death, "Do you know what this is? There's a sack here. Do you know what this is?" And then the Death goes like, "That's a sack. Well, if this is a sack, well then get in it." And then Death goes in, and then he closes it, and then he goes out. There's a tree, and then he puts the sack on a tree, and then nobody is dying, and time passes by, nobody is dying, everybody's like withered looking at him. So he kind of feels like death is really part of nature. So he goes to the tree, he releases death. So death goes death goes to work, but then death doesn't come to him. So he kind of roams the lands up until now. So that's like the story of it. It was amazing. I really absolutely love it. I'd love to visit it sometimes if there's a website that's hosting it. Now for my number 3, it's gotta be MacGyver. Oh my god, every 90s kid know who MacGyver is. Such an amazing TV series. And what I really love about it is that he hates guns, right? I think that's the premise. He hates guns, and he solves problems through physics and science. That's where I really, really love it. And recently, not recently, but I think an episode of Mythbusters kind of busted the myth that he had this formula on a small ampule, shook it, and then it blew a wall. I remember that. I remember that episode, but I don't remember the whole episode. But I do remember another episode where he was revisiting a school where he graduated in, and he's seeing all of these students, doing science stuff, science work. They were solving problems using science, and it was amazing. Every single kid knows who, a 90s kid know who MacGyver is, and especially the theme. Everybody's like dan 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 dan. Oh god, I really 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 love that. It's one of my top most favorite TV series of all time. Now for my number 4 TV series, it's gotta be Highlander, the TV series. Oh my god, I forgot who the actor was, but he was Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. I really love it every time. Every time he says that, he draws his sword and it's like, I'm Duncan MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. There can be only one, and then they fight, and then of course the intro is like the Queen song. Here we are, born to be kings. It's just so amazing. I can't remember any episode though, but I do remember something in the lines of, I think he lost his sword, and then he was in the graveyard or something, and then his enemy was going after him, and it's like, we can't fight here, you can't kill me here, this is holy grounds, because there's like a sacred pact. If you're on holy grounds, you can't fight. That's that kind of one of the rules of the immortals. So yeah, I remember Richie getting the power, which was impossible. I don't know how that worked, but he got the power of an immortal accidentally and became an immortal himself. So yeah, really good TV series. And of course, my number 5 would be, nobody's talking about this. All right, I don't know why, but I think it's pretty cool. My number 5 would be The Nowhere Man. Oh my God, nobody talks about it, but it's one of my favorite TV series growing up. It's about this photographer. This photographer, he has all of this art gallery of his photographs, but then he photographs something that happened in the jungle. There are 4 men who are hanging. 4 men or women, I don't really know, who were hanging. There was a general who had like a cigar, and then there were military people over here, and that's the mystery. Because he sleeps. He goes there the next day. And the image is gone, and everybody's after him. CIA, FBI, some secret black organization is after him. He loses his wife, he loses everything. He's always on the run, and they want the film. The original film is the only thing that's keeping him alive. And yeah, I really love it. And I remember this scene. He walks into a house, something, a home, a house or whatever, and he feels something like he's been there before. So he walks into this like hallway with a ledge on top, and then as he was walking there, he felt the need to reach on top, and then when he reaches on top, there's a second film. It's exactly the same film, because he grabs his copy. It's exactly the same film that he already has, but that's impossible because he always had that film. So why is there 2? So it never actually ended. I don't remember the ending, or if it was showed here in the Philippines, the ending, because the thing about TV series here in the Philippines is that sometimes they would cut it, and then you will not know what the ending is anymore. So yeah, but also there are honorable mentions. Hercules and Xena Warrior Princess was really really good. You know why? And what I didn't watch was Saved by the Bell and Friends. I don't know why. It's like not my cup of tea. So again, memory saved. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.